Hi all, welcome back to more Labyrinth. Playing the extended campaign solo. This will be part 8, I think it is. I've just come straight back, so I'm not going to say any more. I'm just going to play some cards. They've got 3 cards left. I've got 1 that I'm going to discard, so it's just all about what they're going to do to finish this turn out, and they're doing bad things all over the place, to be honest. Right, let's go. First card is okay. Will that put the event in play? Oh, look at that! Yeah, beauty. Mind you, yeah, because it blocks the play of Buenos Arbuto, doesn't it? And that caused quite a headache in the last playthrough, and probably part of the reason I restarted things. But anyway. Play if Pakistan has a cell. Well, we took the cell out of Pakistan. How about that? I mean, it does have a cadre, but that's not good enough. So this is unplayable. I mean, it does mean they're going to use 2 ops and they're going to try a major jihad in Central Asia. So I might have preferred the event to actually have went off. Well, like I say, you're just delaying the inevitable. I can only hope that they fail the major jihad, and some of the cells, well, they fail it twice. Well, yeah, they've got a reserve as well. Well, they need 2 successes. Okay, anyway, it's not a playable event because Pakistan does not have a cell. Okay, so they're going to use it for 2 ops. It is a jihadist event. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, well, like I said, I know what they're going to do. So, is it a playable non-use event? No. Is a major jihad success at poor possible? There is. Major jihad. A non-Islamic rule Muslim country with 5 more cells and troops. Central Asia satisfies that requirement by having 5 more cells than troops, and it's poor. So we're going to do this. Now it's got 2 ops from the card. However, it's going to spend its reserve and use 3 ops. All cells in target country go active. Oh no, is that the success? No. Wait a minute. Let's get up in the rule book to be sure. 8.4.2. If the number of cells in country exceeds the number of troops by 5 or more, and the jihadist side chooses in advance to shift all sleeper cells there to active. Now, hang on here. The fact we're playing solo here, there's not. I don't think there's a problem with this grant. Minor jihad. No, there's no an issue here, Grant. It can't do a minor jihad with poor governance. I don't think I need to be looking at that. That's fine. So they're going to have 3 attempts, but they need to succeed twice. They don't have a Baziz regime marker in there, which is like that, which they would have. Gives them an automatic success, so then they only need 1 more success. So we shift all supercells to active, and we're going to roll 3 dice, and then each successful roll removes 1 aid. Not that exception of Baziz regime. Yeah, okay. Each failed jihad roll removes a cell at the funding track. Whenever the jihadists roll 3 dice for jihad in a country already at poor and failed to shift it to the Islamist rule, place a Baziz regime marker. Right, okay. That's not good either then. But that's only when they're rolling 3 dice, yeah. And they're using that reserve to be able to do that. Yeah, that's a bit annoying. Okay. So all their cells are going active. There we go. All cells active. We need 2 successes. Rolling 3 dice, you need a 3 or less. So they need a 3 or less on 2 dice. Okay, let's do it. 3 dice. I rolled 3 ones the last time. And then 2 of these to be a 3 or less. Come on, we need to roll high. It's not getting any better. So that was not 3 failures, that was 3 successes. So it means no cells will go back. Oh man. So 2 successes or 1 success at Busy's regime. We've got 3 successes. Not even a cell moving away. So their governance moves from poor to Islamist rule. So this moves to Islamist rule. Major jihad. Governance from poor to Islamist rule. Alignments to adversary, which already was anyway. Removal, regime change, disease regime, and aid markers. Add resources to the funding of true. Oh no! It's fine. Add resources. This is the bit. I forgot that actually their funding's at 9 anyway. So add resources to funding. Their funding's at 9. They would add, and by the way, the resources for Central Asia is 2. So they would add 2 resources, but it's at 9. They can't go any further than that. If we had troops here, though, our prestige was going to 1. So that is horrible. I mean, okay, I've not got troops there, but thing is, if you had troops there, you'd like to think you'd be disrupting the cells to stop them from getting there. But anyway, well, that's it. None of the cells go back because none of the attempts failed. They've got 2 resources, so this goes up to 2. Remember, they need 6 to win the game. Fortunately, it's not a 3. When it's one of the 3 ones, you're kind of scary because although we've seen one of the oil price spike cards, so one of them comes out, and that means they're actually sitting at 3 resources. No, it doesn't grant. It needs to be an oil producing country, yeah. So it's not an oil exporting country, yeah. Okay. Now that's it. That was bad. That was just their first card, so then all the cells are active. We can't do a regime change because we need to switch to hard. We're just gonna have to take that. Remember, when they've got Islamist rule, bad things happen to us. In the end of the turn in particular, we're gonna take a hit to our prestige. There's nothing we can do about it. So okay, that was our first card. Right, let's get this horrible turn finished. So yeah, they've got 1 more card to play. So actually, they've got 3 cards, haven't they? Well, we're not playing our last card, so it's just going to be all about what they do. Okay, regional Al Qaeda. It's the 3 ops jihadist card. Local franchise movements. Play if you can select 2 unmarked Muslim countries, not Iran. Yeah, we can. Place a cell in each, or 2 in each, if any Islamist rule. Oh my god. I was just looking up the event table for that. Play if you can select 2 unmarked Muslim countries. Well, yeah, I can. There's loads. They've not been marked yet. I thought there might be something in the event table, but we're just going to have to pick these. Yeah, I mean, we're just going to have to select the priorities to unmarked Muslim countries. How would you... Well, we're placing a cell in each of them, so would that be the recruit priorities then? I mean, it's just place a cell. Yeah, because it tells you that in the rules, Grant. It tells you that in the rules. Come on. It tells you that. Actually, I don't think that's in the new rules, is it? Oh no, it is. It is. Recruiting or replacing cells. When an event instructs to recruit, place, or replace cells, JADISBot uses the recruit and travel to priorities of the operations priorities flowchart, OP flowchart. So the flowchart first, and then exception, which I forgot to read on before, which was relevant at one time. The exception is if it's placing plots as well, you do it slightly differently. We're not placing plots. So we would just follow the flowchart to select them. Bearing in mind that they've got to be unmarked. Right, hold on. I could read that as the condition to play the card is to select 2 unmarked Muslim countries. So once I say, okay, we can play that card, Nigeria, no, grand. It says place a cell in each. So it has to still select unmarked countries, doesn't it? Unmarked Muslim countries. And by the way, this next bit, or 2 in each if any Islamist rule, I thought it meant if the country was Islamist rule, but that's not what it means. It means if there's any Islamist rule out there, and there is, it's not just 1 cell in each of these countries, it's 2. Just as I said, when that went Islamist rule, I says there's bad things that will happen. One of them being the end of term, we're going to take a prestige hit. The other, well, some of the other ones being whenever you turn up an event. Did we not have an event recently that that was particularly targeting Afghanistan or Pakistan, wasn't it? Place a cell in each, or 2 in each if any Islamist rule. I mean, it can't mean the country that we're targeting. If it was Islamist rule, it gets 2 cells, can it? Play if you can select 2 unmarked Muslim countries, and then place a cell in each. It has to be the 2 unmarked countries that we select. So that unmarked country cannot be Islamist rule. So that must mean that if there's any Islamist rule in play right now, 2 cells are going in each. Yeah, it has to be. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that has to be how it works. So 91 regional Al-Qaeda 2002 to question mark. After the loss of its sanctuary in Taliban ruled Afghanistan, Al-Qaeda, the base, relied for global reach and part of its endorsement of sympathetic local groups. The Algerian Salafist group for preaching and combat was a classic example. In 2006, allying with bin Laden and changing its name to Al-Qaeda in the lands of Islamic Maghreb. Yemen's Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula is another. Okay. Now, I thought I'd go and have a search for this card on BGG just in case, but I don't know if it's BGG that's got some issues right now or if it's my computer, but it's not really dealing with the search that I'm trying to do. So, play if you can select 2 unmarked Muslim countries, not Iran. Place a cell in each of those unmarked Muslim countries, which will then mark them, okay? Or 2 in each if any Islamist rule. We have an Islamist rule, yeah. Okay, so, yeah, that's going to happen, so it's not nice, but... Right, so, and then when we're placing cells, we use the recruit and travel to priorities, starting with the flowchart. So here's for the first one, with select 2 unmarked, right? So, well, that's poor means it's marked. We're not recruiting, we're placing a cell. Good means it's marked. Fair means it's marked. Non-Muslim's not any good because we want to select 2 unmarked Muslim countries, and poor means it's marked. So yeah, so although I said we started the flowchart, it's not any good to us, is it? Where are we? Where are we? Recruiting and placing sales. Uses a recruit and travel 2 priorities. Yeah, so I'm just going to look at recruit and travel 2 priorities now to try and select. Not Islamic rule. Pakistan. Well, Pakistan is marked. Baziz's regime. Well, I'll tell you what. Somalia is Baziz's regime, but it's not marked. So is that our first? Play if you can select 2. I mean, that's, yeah, I mean, it's not nice. I don't want 2 cells going in there. Remember, 2 cells because we've got Islamic rule. So that would be the first of the 2 unmarked Muslim countries. Well, moving on then. That was Baziz's regime. Syria, these are expansion symbols, so no. US doesn't count. Poor then, fair than good would be marked already, so that's not any good. Right, highest resource, that's the next one. So, well, there's going to be a few of them. Yeah, I remember now. This is going to bring up my question from a way back when I played before, I think. Because right now, I might need to go and look up this question now. So, right now, we need to look at unmarked Muslim countries with the highest resource. So, well, is there any 3s? Marked. This is marked. Indonesia here is another 3 that's marked. Now, remember, we've got Mali here, it's only a 1. Egypt. There you go. Egypt's going to be 1. Right, maybe it won't bring up my question then. I'll tell you the question. I think the question was, let's just say right now that we came to highest resource and there was more than one possibility here. I want to say my question was, do I then carry on? Surely not, though, Grant. Was that your question? Let's just say Egypt wasn't there and we had 2. So you've got Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia. You've got, Syria's marked, Turkey. So you've got 3. There's 3 of them there. I mean, surely you just randomise between the 3. Yeah. I think so. I think this was my question because it bugged me that I've got 3 with highest resource, so do I keep moving on? That doesn't sound like that makes sense. Maybe that wasn't my question. I'm going to find my question. Hi all. Right, back to continue. Ooh, is this part 8, I think? I got started last night and then got stopped. I want to say I'm maybe about 27 minutes is ringing a bell. I'm just booting up my computer now. I've copied the part across, so I'm not quite sure where I'm at just as of yet. I see this card here. Yeah, I'm going to have a quick look, but there was a couple of comments, so I thought I'd get them out of the way while my computer's booting up. So this is from part 6. Now, what I done yesterday was, because I'm getting a bit hung up with all this radicalisation, travel, my question's seen some attention on BGG. Again, just from viewers though, Jean and Zod. Whether Tim's commented there or not, I don't know. But it's regarding that confirmation that was given by Adam, the bot designer, and I just couldn't get my head around that. It was really starting to frustrate me. So I haven't looked over their comments on that yet, but I'm hoping, it looks like I think John's laid it out to try and let me look through it. But I've been at work briefly the day for a short little bit, and so I'm just back just now. So I will get around to looking at that. However, I've released 4 parts 4, 5 and 6, but I just sent them to Jean and Tim, who are the guys that have been commenting the most, and So they've got access to parts 4, 5 and 6. So actually this is from part 6. And I did just release part 4 today. I finished watching that myself. This is from part 6. And yeah, I mean, I should have thought more into this. I was scratching my head for a while with it. Where is it? There it is. But I mean, I should have realised what was going on here. The problem was there was no sales in the country. And I'm talking about this Iran card. And this is at the 32-minute, 19-second mark. Tim comments that. Anyway, we select and test the sheer mix country. That turned out to be Pakistan. I'm not going to go back and look at how that all came to be, but anyway, it's Pakistan. That didn't get challenged anyway. But it says if jihadists play, which it was, make 2 jihad roles there, ignore failures, or shift to Islamist rule. So we've to ignore the failures and we've to ignore the shift to Islamist rule. Which, by the way, some people were confused by that because it says shift to Islamist rule. But anyway, I was okay with that bit. The problem I was having trouble with was ignore failures, which is probably the bit that nobody else was having trouble with. So, fortunately, I did roll the 2 dice. Now, I want to say we got... was it fair at the time? I think it was... Was it fair at the time? Oh, yeah, it was clear it was fair because the jihad succeeded. So, I want to say maybe we rolled a 2 and a 3 or a 2 and a 4. Because I wasn't going to roll the dice first, but just as well I did. Because, I mean, you should have thought it through, Grant. We're doing 2 jihad roles there. Now, there was nothing to say when we picked this country that there wasn't going to be any sales there. So, and with a jihad role, any failures, the sales go back to the track. So I didn't really put 2 and 2 together with that and was confused by the ignore failures bit. So I was thinking ignore failures, it's a guaranteed success, but that's not what it means. So Tim comments, you still have to roll the dice. Ignore failures does not mean treat failures as success, which I think went through my mind at one point as well. But just if there'd been a sell in there, I think it would have triggered. I would have realised. It says it means they don't lose any sales on failure. Only successes, in this case 2 or less, would degrade the governance. Yeah, and I want to say we did get. Well, I was just looking at there, and I know that we rolled a 2, or it might have been a 1. So we got 1 success, and that's all we needed. And because there was no sales in there, the failure that we rolled didn't do anything. So I'm assuming that's how it goes. Yeah. So thanks for that, Tim. I should have realised what was going on there. But now, what was his other comment? You've got it right, he says. At the 1 hour and 25-second mark. I'm just going to have a look at that. Right, all I've got at the 1 hour and 25-second mark is Tim saying you've got it right. It's when I'm trying to work out this statement by the bot designer regarding radicalisation travel, which I've since posted as a question. And like I said, I have had a couple of comments. I've not had the time to sit down and look at it because it was hurting my head, this. So Tim's just saying I've got it right there. And I've not watched back part 6. And although he's got a timestamp, there's a lot in that. I want to say, well, hang on, these cells, I must have done something with the 2 cells that were here, didn't I? Where did they go? Oh, no, I was just messing about with 2 cells, wasn't I? I was just trying to create examples in that, wasn't I? I want to say that when he says I'm right, it means that we're looking for the travel from and needing to be adjacent. We've got 2 ops. The first one travels from there to there, right? And then we had a cell down here. This was the only other possible adjacent travel. So the question has always been on... well, to be honest, it was John that brought this up. I would have personally done that for my 2 ops. Travel adjacent, travel adjacent. That's what I would have done. But it was him that... I'm pretty sure it was him that said that... he didn't see it that way, and because this was a travel from country, this travelled adjacent. Now this country's got no other adjacent travels that it can do, unmarked non-Muslim countries adjacent, so it would then travel somewhere, attempt to travel somewhere else. I actually don't think that's right, and to be honest, he commented on I think it's in part 4 that he leaves a comment saying he's actually not sure if that is right or not. So I think he's not sure as well. Hopefully that the question I've got in BGG regarding the radicalisation travel, hopefully we're going to look through that and work it out. I think that's what Tim's saying, that I'm right there, but I could be wrong because I've not watched through the whole part, and it's when I was getting really flustered about it, to be honest. But let me know if you've got any more to add to that, Tim. Okay, I'm going to move on to, and then just finish this turn, I hope. Yeah, because we're just ditching this last card. They, I think, are in the middle of doing this, and then they've got one card to come. So let me try and finish this part. Right, okay, so I was actually only 18 minutes into the video, so I want to say we're about the 25-minute mark now. I thought it was more than that. Okay, so I was away, last night I went away looking for my question from back in the day, I think. And the reason, this confused me back in the day, but I think it was cleared up for me here, but I tried to look through the question, and again last night my head was hurting, so I left it. So what we've got here is we're going to select 2 unmarked Muslim countries, and we're going to place a cell in each, or 2 in each of Islamist rule. Right, so we're going to place 2 in each because unfortunately Central Asia is Islamist rule. We selected the first one quite comfortably. Now we selected with the travel 2. I want to say we looked at that as first, did we? Or does it just directly say the table with this one? No, I don't think it does, Grant. This is it here. I had it open here. This is when event starts to recruit place. JadisBot uses recruit and travel 2 priorities of the operations priorities op flowchart. So we did have to look here first. So sorry, I'm catching up. I'm just repeating myself here, but I'm just trying to catch up. It's got to be an unmarked country, an unmarked Muslim country that's not Iran. So do we have poor Muslim 1 to 4 more cells? No, we don't. Do we have... it's not a recruit, although this was spoken about. I think Tim picked up on this and thought, is this counted as a recruit because we're placing 2 cells? If it's recruit, it would be auto-recruit, which would be Afghanistan, wouldn't it? I felt like that was wrong, though, because this is not recruit. This is placing... It says place a cell or 2 cells. Place 2 cells in each of any... Yeah, place 2 cells in each... 2 unmarked Muslim countries. Well, in actual fact, hang on. Afghanistan's already marked anyway. That maybe comes up already. So the 2 auto recruits would be Central Asia and Afghanistan. And both of them are marked anyway, so it's all right. I still feel, I don't know what you still think about that, Tim, but I still feel like placing a cell is not going to check this box as a yes, I don't know if you still feel that way. Or if anybody's come up with something like that, does this count for when it says place a cell or place cells? Would you look here? It's not recruiting, Anyway, so, and then you've got good Muslim. Well, clearly that would be marked. Fair Muslim, it'd be marked. Non-Muslim, it can't be because it says Muslim. And poor Muslim, it'd be marked. Yeah, so that's marked as well, isn't it? Marked. They're both marked, even if they were recruit. Marked, non-Muslim, and then marked. So we can't break it down there. So then we come to the priorities, and we hit Somalia's Baziz regime, don't we? So it's got to not be Islamist rule, which would be marked anyway. Pakistan is marked, so no. And then Baziz regime. So there's definitely one. In fact, I can put 2 cells in here. There's not a problem with that. I'm just not going to do it just yet because finding the other country is going to need some work from me here and looking into it. Now, it might be quite simple for everybody else, but let's carry on. So we've got Baziz regime for the first one. These 2 are only expansions. These 2 are only expansions. The US doesn't count. It needs to be Muslim. Poor, then fair, then good. Well, they would been marked, so that doesn't count. So it's highest resource. That's where we get to, right? Now you can see out there, there's going to be unmarked. I don't think there's any unmarked 3s, is there? I think we looked. You've got like highest resource 3, India, Malaysia, Gulf States, Iraq. They're all marked. Egypt. Oh, well, it's simple. We're getting away with this. Well, allow me to carry on, but I'd like to go over my question. You'd be glad to hear. So, I think this is where the second country is. That's an unmarked. It's an unmarked Muslim country that's not Iran, and it's the prior was highest resource. And it is the only 3. Like I say, we've got Iraq there that's marked, Saudi Arabia is marked, Gulf States is marked, and Indonesia and Malaysia is marked. That's the other 4 that are 3 resources. Okay, so it is going to be Egypt. Nice and simple. But let's just say Egypt was marked right now, right? So we'd be looking at 2 resources. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. Let's just 1, 2, 3. Is there any more? Can you see? Right, it seems there's only the 3. Turkey, Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco. So imagine Egypt's already marked. So we've got to decide between the 3. So between the 3, and then this is where I come back here and I say, well, we've got highest resources. We've got 3 of them. What do we do now? How do we break down between Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia and Turkey? And I was confused at this first time I come across it. And I must admit, right now, looking at it right now, I'm still not sure what to do. Do I randomise between the 3? Do I just stop here and randomise between the 3? Do I, well, to be honest, do I take the 3 back through this again? That's not going to do anything, is that? Because we're not going to find anything. Or do I move on and try and find between the 3, is one of them Russia? No. Would this apply to one of them? Would this apply to one of them? Do you see what I'm saying? I think this is how you do it, but that was the question I went and asked back in the day. So let's talk about my question. Yes, of course. You want to talk about my question, don't you? So this was back 17th of February 2020. So hi all, I'm still a bit confused on how to follow the priorities table when you get to them. Been looking through the forums and found some conflicting results, but that could just be me. So I've obviously found something, somebody's doing it one way, somebody's doing it another, and there's a bit of doubt about how you go about it. It says, so I carry on. When you get to a target priority that is correct for your situation, right? And let's just assume that that is highest resource, it's correct for our situation, but there are multiple targets within that priority. Okay, we've got 3 targets, which are multiple. Do you randomise between these targets, or do you skip that priority? So I'm saying skip that priority there. That doesn't sound right, Grant. And move down until you find only one correct target priority for your situation. Yeah, because I'll tell you why I'm asking it that way. Because somebody was looking at it that way. That because I'm pretty sure somebody looked at it that, and I might have the thread for that if you hit that and there's more than one priority, they said, well, we can't decide between that, so we keep going. And you know what? If Russia was the next one, then that's how they would have done it. That doesn't sound right, does it? Because we've got the 3 that are the top priority. So surely we need to decide between the 3. Whether we look down priorities further or whether we randomise between them, it surely should be between the 3. But I think this is why I was struggling with it, because somebody didn't look at it that way. So, or do you skip that priority and move down until you find only one correct target priority for your situation? And if the correct procedure is the latter, and you get to the end of the table and still don't have a single correct target priority for your situation, what targets do you randomise between? And I guess I'm sort of saying, I think it was a similar situation where I want to say it was highest resource, to be honest, and I had a few of them, and then didn't know what to do. And then what I've done is seen somebody else how they've done it, and because there's more than one there, they've kept going down the list to try and find one of these priorities that's just one target. That doesn't sound right to me at all. And then I've not found anything, and that's why I'm saying when you get to the end, what do you do? I want to say this guy Daryl. I don't think he answers. He says, if you have multiple possibilities for the same priority, you randomly choose one from that priority. See 9.5 in the original rulebook. Right now, 9.5 is the solar rules, isn't it? In the original rulebook. So, but bear in mind, I think this thread is in the base game. It was for the base game at the time. But 9.5 random country. It's basically saying whenever you can't pick between one, you would randomise them. So, to be honest, right now, randomising between Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Turkey would probably be fine. But, of course, Grant wants to know how to do it properly and make sure he's doing it right. Does the solo rules in the new book differentiate between randomising things, or... I don't... multiple possibilities. If the instruction of the event instructions table and section do not signify a single target country, choose randomly. Well, to be honest, that actually highlights 9.5, which is a little strange. Because I did just read 9.5 is the sole bot rules of the old. No, that's the old. That's the old bot rules, and this is the new bot rules, referencing the old bot rules. That's what I also noticed there's a reference to 9.1 down there as well. Okay, interesting. Anyway, let's move on, because there's more to this thread. I said, hi Daryl, thanks for your reply. This question, and I do have a link here, an answer from a while back, admittedly, was what got me doubting the procedure. So the question's to Adam, and that's the bot designer. Now, I'm saying bot designer, he must have done both bots. Because this is from the... Oh no, it is Awakening, sorry. It is on the Awakening thread. So, well, we know he's definitely the author of the Awakening bot. Whether he was the original bot's designer or not, I suppose, I don't know. So this is somebody asking the question. It's Colin, and I think I've seen his name pop up as well. The jihadist... Right, I do kind of need to go through this, sorry, but... I mean, I could just go through it myself. Let's just quickly whiz through that. The jihadist bot just played a 2-op card for minor jihad in Pakistan, now has an op left over for radicalisation. No WMDs are available yet, so it moves past that priority. US is hard and there is no global war and terror penalty, so we'll try and travel. Afghanistan is a travel from country, so just need to pick the travel to destination. So he's trying to find a travel to destination for the radicalisation travel adjacently. So I moved down the travel to priorities to get to fair, of which there are 6 untested countries. Now, do I roll randomly between them, or do I continue down the hierarchy? Is the travel to country a randomly selected country from the 6 fair non-Muslim countries? Or is it Russia? So he's coming down here and trying to find a travel to. Let's see if we can follow this. He's trying to do the travel to, and he's like, this is no, yes. So he finds a yes here, and then he finds 6 of them. So now he's saying, do I randomise between these 6? Or do I go down this priority and get to Russia? I would say you go down this priority and get to Russia, and that's your target. That's why I would see that, if I'm reading that right. So, and then he references, reminds me of Coin. Let's see what Adam says to that then. Hi Colin. You should continue down the table until only a single country remains. Right, see this? This is what got me thinking. You should continue down the table until only a single country remains. Right, just let me stop there and think about this. I'm going down here and I get to here and I've got 3 countries. So, continuing down to I only get 1 country feels like I need to keep going because this isn't resolving my problem. I don't think Adam's saying that here though, is he? You should continue down the table until only a single country remains. If you reach the end and still have more than one possibility, then you choose randomly among them. That's not right, is it? So, and then this is my comment at the end here about this. It says, after rereading it, however, I'm wondering if the continue down the table means to continue down the table, but only consider the 6 fair non-Muslim countries within priorities down the table. Yeah, now that sounds better. That sounds like we should consider the 6 fair countries, but continue down the priorities until you get 1. So you've got 6 fair countries, and you're going down here trying to break it down, aren't you? Which is where you would then, if one of the 6 fair countries was Russia, hang on, it's a Muslim country, isn't it? I don't know. You know what? Russia is fair as well. Maybe it's not non-Muslim, or maybe it's just got to fair somehow. I mean, you've got this one here that says poor, then fair, then good. Maybe there was no poor countries, but there was 6 fair countries. Then yeah, I would continue down, and to be honest, highest resource might come into it as well though before Russia. But anyway, he's come to the conclusion that the question was, do you randomise between the 6, or would it be Russia? Because obviously that's next in line. But you can see, and I think I should what I should take in my case right now. I've got 2 resources countries that are targets here, so I should take the 3 further down the list. Now, if I'd done that, would I find anything? Russia's not one of them. No disrupt prestige gain. That doesn't come into it. If recruit, highest recruit number. Well, remember, I'm sort of saying this is not recruit. There's no rec number for the 3 countries anyway. Remember, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia and Turkey is what we were considering. So moving on, best GRDRM is just expansion. Same posture as US, that doesn't apply. Most cells, well, there's no cells there. Adjacent to Islamist rule. Could have came into it, but it's not, because we've got an Islamist rule country there, which is not adjacent to Turkey, which is the nearest one. So, I mean, if it had been, though, that would have applied, I think. And that would have broke it down to Turkey out of the 3. And then oil exporter. Oh, well, there you go. We've got a winner. Because Turkey's not an oil exporter, Morocco's not an oil exporter, but Algeria, Tunisia is. So there we go. Well, but let's carry on with my question. So, yeah, and I'm thinking because I read that wrongly, and I think that's right. Actually, I should be reading it. What does Darryl say to this? Pretty sure you only continue down tables until you find a line with 1 or more viable targets, and then you choose among those targets. So, I mean, that's what we're at just now. We've got 3 targets, and he's saying I should just randomise between the 3. It makes absolutely no sense to choose a line with only 1 target, but skip it if there are 2 targets and thus choose neither of them. I don't know why he was saying that, because I wasn't saying that, was I? Right. Anyway, we're going to get a reply from Adam here, the designer, but I says, I agree, but could the answer to the question above suggest that if you had 2 targets, as you described, that you continue down the table with only those 2 targets in mind? If you then further prioritise one of those 2 targets, then you have your result. But if you reach the bottom with still those 2 targets, you would randomise between them. Yes, I think you're right, Grant. It's either that or the answer to the question is wrong, or I'm just not getting it, maybe. Right, let's see what Adam says, and I reply to it. So, bot designer. Hi Grant. Continue down the table until you are able to identify a single priority country. Only apply the priority checks to those countries that are still potential targets. Yeah, okay. I think when he said it before, it threw me a bit. So, for instance, imagine the evil flowchart and Op-P leads you to perform plot in a fair country, and there are 3 candidate fair countries with cells. Using the priority table, move down the plot column on the priorities table until just one of those 3 countries meets the current priority. Okay, that's what we'd be thinking at first. If just one of the 3 countries does not meet a particular priority, remove that country from consideration. Continue down the table to select between the remaining 2. Once the priority country is identified, spend as many resources as possible in that country. If there are more resources available than cells in this country, return to the priorities table to determine in which of the remaining 2 potential target countries you will plot further. As you said, if you reach the end of the table and still haven't eliminated all but 1 potential target country, randomly choose among those that remain. Hope that helps, Adam. Let's just give him a quick reply just to make sure that I'm grasping that. Adam, thanks for your reply. Seems I was right after rereading your previous answer then. All makes sense now. I could be wrong, but I think the original game just randomised between the initial results, but then it didn't have as detailed a priorities table. I think this is what will throw a lot of people into randomised immediately, as I initially thought also. That was until I saw your answer from the question, Bob. I was confused by this at first, but I think I have it now. Thanks again. Yeah, I think it was just the way I read his original answer. So just popping back to his, for instance here. This is another half a video with nothing happening, isn't it? So for instance, imagine the evil flowchart not P led you to perform plot. Right, so you plot, and it was a fair Muslim country. I think he means we go here and we come to here and we've got fair Muslim. So we would look out there for the fair Muslim countries, right? Where we're going to plot. And let's just say there's 3 candidates, he says, that are fair countries with cells. So we then use the priorities table to plot, right? So we'd come down here looking for one of these 3 countries. And that is what I do. The problem with this way, and how things have came about here, is we went down here and we've got to here, and the answer to this is not just 1 country, it's 3. So this is where it's slightly different. But anyway, it's not really different, because right now we've got 3 fair countries, and we're just looking down the plot column. So he carries on until just one of those 3 countries meet the current priority. Yeah. If just one of those 3 countries does not meet a particular priority, remove that country from consideration and continue down the table to select between the remaining 2. Yeah, I really don't think this is difficult, Grant. I think it was just the way that I read it. So right now, highest resource would mean we're looking at Morocco, Algeria, or Turkey. They're all 2 resources. So I'm just looking into each one of these until I find either Morocco, Algeria, or Turkey. Or if I find one that doesn't include, that says not Morocco, Algeria, or Turkey, we then remove that and carry on looking for between the 2 that are left. That's pretty simple, isn't it? Yeah. I think I maybe made that more complicated than I needed to. Okay, so sorry, that was that. Okay, but it was nice to look over that again, and it has brought it back to my mind. So, right, let's get this turn finished. Okay, so I'm still doing regional Al Qaeda. We broke down the first priority to be Somalia, and the second one's Egypt, because it's got the highest resource of 3. There's no other unmarked resources of 3. So, in the countries, excuse me, because we've got an Islamist rule country, rather than place just 1 cell, we're going to place 2 cells in Somalia, and we're going to place 2 cells in Egypt. Right, both of these have been untested, and that was a requirement for the event, that they needed to be able to select 2 unmarked Muslim countries. So we're going to have to mark these. So, well, let's do Egypt first, since it's up high. No, let's do Somalia first, because it was a priority. So, testing Somalia, a 1 to 4, it'll be poor. 5 or 6, it'll be fair. So that's poor. Egypt, 1 to 4, 5 to 6. Oh, okay, that's fair. So we've got 1 fair and 1 poor. So Somalia is poor neutral, initial test, remember, and Egypt is fair neutral. 2 cells in each because of the Islamist rule country. Place a cell in each, or 2 in each if Islamist rule. So that's it. So that's their 2 cards being played. Bhutto's shot was not played for the event because there was not a sale in Pakistan, or the marker would have been out blocking Benazir Bhutto. So this just goes in the discard pile. So does this. They both discarded. Right, it's back to me. It's my turn. I'm choosing to just discard this card. So that goes in the discard pile. And then let's just finish off this part. And I should have just about time to do this, I think. Just about time. Right, let's hope it's not. Well, it means it might be getting played for the event. Oh, God. I've seen this one before. It's horrible. Yeah, we're getting a cell travelling to the United States here, aren't we? So, Queen operatives, trained jihadists without known terrorism nexus, automatically travel 2 cells anywhere. Right, so pretty sure this is playable, so quick read of this. Queen operatives, an elaborate international system developed after 9/11 to screen airline passengers and intercept those suspected of terrorist intent, remained vulnerable to penetration by operatives whose ties to jihadism had been carefully obscured. Right, so just getting the event table out here to find out. I mean, it's going to say the US, and then my guess is then the travel to priorities, probably. Card number 79. Zoom out a bit, Grant. 79. Queen operatives. Well, actually, it just says to US. Oh, automatically travel 2 cells anywhere. Yeah, okay, so they're both going to the US. Yeah, that's right, that happened before, and I panicked and got rid of them quickly. So it's going to travel 2 cells to the US, and remember, although before when I was trying to recruit in the US, I forgot to do a die roll, it does say automatically travel, so they're not going to fail. Now, where are the cells going to come from, though? Well, you can see we've got quite a few options, and although the event is saying automatic, my guess could be here that, where they're going to come from is probably here. Because these are Schengen countries, they're adjacent to the US. And I think when it comes through the priorities, it's going to pick adjacent as it is, isn't it? Travel from, it's going to say adjacent. But because this event says automatically travel, I'm surprised there's not a bit more information there then. I don't think it should be wanting to use the travel from priorities here. What if you were the player right now, would you not maybe consider putting 2 of these cells underground by travelling them automatically to the US? But I shouldn't be trying to intervene here. That got me into trouble in the first playthrough when I started trying to say that doesn't make sense, it's not really doing anything, let's consider something else. And the thing is, that's not in me at all. I want to just follow the rules and the instructions. So automatically travel 2 cells anywhere. We know where they're going, we just don't know where they're coming from. But my guess is Scandinavia and Germany, but if I'm going to travel from, I just need to look here, don't I? And the first priority is adjacent. And the only countries with cells that are adjacent to the US... now, hold on. No, we don't have that one in the Philippines anymore, because remember, I realised that was adjacent to the US. We don't have them anymore, but these are 2 Schengen countries, and you can see that there's a Schengen symbol, and it's connected to the US. The dotted line, I think, is to do with this Patriot Act, but that's not in play. I think Patriot Act says, you can see how that's quite a good thing, because that then says that US is only adjacent to Canada, I think it says, doesn't it? But it's not in play, so Scandinavia and Germany are both adjacent to the United States. I think I'm going to just do this. I think these both travel to the US. Because they're adjacent, and that's the priority. It seems a shame that it's a priority, because it wouldn't matter where they were travelling from, because the event allows them to do it automatically. Is it worth a quick look on... I can't... there's not even any point looking down the travel from priorities, because there was two. We needed to travel 2 cells. These are the only 2 that are adjacent. Whereas, you know what, the next option would be travel from an auto-recruit country, because it knows it can recruit cells back in there, which would have been, well, you've got Afghanistan, which is also auto-recruit, isn't it? But that then would take 2 of these cells that are active, put them in the US as sleepers, you know. But no, I'm not going to go there, even though, I mean, the bot does get to cheat with other things. So I'm just going to leave it at that, I think. Right, that's it. That was our last card. It was a jihadist card, so no reserves. That just gets discarded. Let me know your thoughts on that one. I mean, I don't think there's anything really to talk about. The priority is travel from adjacent. So, but in the situation it was in, with the event being automatic, I don't need to say any more, do I? You know what I'm saying. So, I might have a glance at that in BGG, see if anybody's maybe asked a question about it. But right, end of turn, -1 to funding. Funding's still at 9. Jeez, it's a hard job getting that moving, isn't it? Yeah, I think it jumped back up again this turn from 8 to 9. Well, it clearly did, because it goes down every turn. Right, and then unfortunately, -1 to prestige if any country under Islamist rule. Well, we can see that Central Asia is under Islamist rule, so we're going to take a hit on our prestige. Now putting us down to medium. So we're going to have to, I mean, now we are at soft. I noticed Tim had mentioned I've gave him the bit of the boost to actually get the game out and play it again. He's having a go at it. I think his game's going pretty horrible as well, and he's just transferred over to soft. And he did mention that he's going to try and get his prestige boosted up by testing some of these countries, because obviously the more likelihood that I'm going soft, so it might be something I might want to consider too. I do have a cell with troops there though, so, and because it's not active, I could do two disrupts in there to get my prestige back up by 2, you know. So I'll see. We'll see what our hands are looking like in the next turn and what we've got. +1 prestige. Well, we're actually not far away for that. That is if we would get +1 to our prestige if this was actually at 3, and we were the same, and we were soft, which we are. We're meant to soft, but unfortunately it is only at 2. So another reason to maybe get another country, maybe try and get another country to soft this turn, and then we would get that +1 prestige if it stayed like that till the end of the turn anyway. So not for now anyway. And then finally, well, not finally, remove lapsing events, there's none. Reserves to 0, I noticed it looked like I missed that in the last turn, and we didn't have a look at that, but there was no reserves anyway. And remember, I don't think I used my reserves right away. Remember, the bot doesn't lose its reserves anyway, so if there was, if I didn't swing across there and look, the bot doesn't lose them anyway between turns. And then deal new hands, and then regime change to tan. There's not, we've only got that one regime change in Afghanistan that is tan already. So, well, let's deal out new hands. It's the same again, we're still, yeah, there's still 5 troops in the overstretch there, so the troop markers in the war box, which gives us 8 cards, and there's funded still ample, which gives them 9 cards. So let me just deal these out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them. Oh, there was 1 card out this time. I know it's the last time I pulled 17 cards off the top. Well, I pulled 18 there, so I wasn't far away. So 8 for us, double checking, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 for us, and then 9 for them. That's right, innit? Yeah. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right, okay. So, yeah, let's see. We need a decent hand. To be honest, our first 2 turns, our hands have been not good. Whereas a game that I've played before, although, like I say, I did make an awful lot of blunders, but I felt like our hands had been much better. Certainly the very first hand, and possibly the second as well. Anyway, okay. Right, not sure when I'll be back again. I'm off this weekend, but there's quite a few things going on, so I'll get here when I can. Okay, be back later. Cheers.